Hi there, my name is Ali Paz from the Yoga Home. I appreciate your support and jumping on this channel. There's lots of information on my channel about yoga, breathing, meditation, and tutorials, as well as movement practices. So today, what we're doing is I'm doing a beginner series. So every week you'll get, and this is catered towards and inviting those in that are just starting out with yoga and may find it a little difficult to jump onto someone's yoga practice and it's too fast for them and there's no modifications. So if that speaks to you, or you are an advanced practitioner that just wants to slow it down a little bit and take it easy, then this is perfect for you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, thank you so much for the support. And I look forward to the next few weeks with you doing the beginner series. So today we'll focus on hips. Last week was just a very gentle introduction and a nice flow. So check out that video if you missed out on it. Today we're focusing just on the hips. Very nice, gentle, slow flow. So enjoy, grab a mat, and we'll get going. So let's start our practice in child's pose. It's called Balasana, where you'll be separating your knees about hip distance, maybe a little bit wider if it feels good for you, and sitting back into the heels. Now, if you have knee injuries, this may not feel so good for you. So what I would suggest is putting a pillow or a block or bolster or something in between the knees so you can kind of sit back and be comfortable with it. Okay, and then stretching out the arms and resting. Now, if this is too much of a stretch for you, then I would just come to your elbows and maybe even just bring your thumbs to your forehead to relax your forehead. Or if you have a block, by all means use that. Otherwise, we're stretching our arms out, resting our forehead into the mat, and starting with a couple deep breaths in and out. Exhale completely. Good. Inhale, feel the expansion through the side body, the rib cage, the heart center, and the back body. And then complete exhale. Allow your neck to soften, relax your whole face, jaw and tongue. And start to soften through the shoulders, the joints, the hips, and down through the knees and the ankles. Just take this time to settle in, setting the tone for your practice and really quieting your mind, especially if you've had a busy day or a morning. Just want to take this time to reset. A couple more breaths here. Good. And before I start any practice, I like to set an intention. So if you'd like, you can invite one word or an affirmation into your practice. Something that resonates to you in this time and space. Good. And on the next inhale, we'll slowly start to lift our hips off of our heels, bringing our shoulders above the wrists as we straighten up through the elbows and bring the knees in about hip distance if they're not already. Start to bring a nice neutral spine. And you'll just begin by lowering your belly towards the earth, lifting the tailbone, and then opening up the heart center, looking up to inhale. And then exhale to round the spine, drawing the navel center up. We'll just do some cat-cows, cycling through this with the breath awareness. So last week we talked about coordinating breath and body movement. So we want to do that throughout the practice as well. Bring that awareness in. As you inhale, look up. As you exhale, round, the belly comes in. Couple more. Good. And then we'll press our toes in and just really feel that pressure as you send your hips back. Press your hands into the ground. So you, with the help of that pressure, sitting back into the heels to feel the stretch in the arches and the toes. And then slowly walk the hands towards the front. Keep them hip distance or shoulder distance, and then press the toes in, lift the hips towards the sky. And you may need to adjust your stance, but while you're doing that, bending the left knee and right knee, just alternating through the bend in the knees, just to release any kinks in the backs of the legs or the ankles or the knees. And just feeling this nice inverted posture as the blood flows down to the head. Now you may have been sitting at your desk all day, so these will feel really good and invigorating to move the body. Good. Now let's get into the down dog a little bit here. So we'll bend our knees. So I want you to, when you bend your knees, make sure the knees go in the same direction as the toes. Your heels are lifted. And then you'll send your hips up a little bit as you soften the front of your heart and the back of the shoulder blade. And then straighten out through the elbows. So what you're doing is pressing your palms into the ground. The navel center is coming in and up. Good. Continue with this, putting pressure into the palms, into the earth, lengthening the spine. And letting the head and neck relax. Maybe even just shake it from side to side. Good, and then take a couple steps up towards the front with your feet in between the hands. Keep the feet separated about hip distance and just fold the body forward. Just see what that feels like for the legs. And some of you may be way up here with the fold, and that's okay. If your back is sore, I would suggest to bend the knees a little bit. Just kind of fold from here. If you're all the way down, go for it. Good, and then bend both knees, sit into an imaginary chair and sweep the arms out in front. And hang out in a little bit of a chair pose here. So reaching the arms out in front, palms are facing each other, knees are bent. Good, breathing 1, 2, and 3. Reach all the way up as you extend through the spine, the arms and the legs. Look up and exhale. Let the arms come beside you as you interlace the fingers behind your back. We just want to get a little bit of a chest opener here. Inhale and then exhale, folding forward. And once again, your fold might be halfway. And really it's just about getting the chest open. So you can actually just stay here, standing with your heart opening. Those of you that want to go a little bit deeper, you're folding from the hips. Breathing into it. Good, and then come all the way back up. And then bend right knee and left knee. You place your hands on your hips to feel stable. Bending right knee and left knee as you're just bringing them up towards the chest. We're just kind of opening up and warming up the hip flexors and the hips for some hip openers today. So you're just kind of marching on one spot. Good. And now I want you to bring the knee out to the side and do little circles. Just a few on one side, and then you'll switch to do a few on the other side. Now this is a balance, so if balances are a little bit off for you, find one point to stare at, transfer weight into that one side, and just do little tiny circles. If you don't want to go far up with the knee, that might be too high for you, so just do little tiny circles. So at least you're playing a little bit with the balance. Every so often you can drop that foot down if you'd like. So just alternating, doing some hip circles. Good, and then we'll stand in our Tadasana. Look at your toes. Press through the big toe mound, spread the toes. So I like to pick them up and spread them and then relax them back down, rooting through all four corners. just to feel that nice grounding into the earth. And then reach through the crown of the head, find a nice neutral pelvis. Relax the shoulders down the back body. Taking whatever breath resonates to you, whatever you know. I usually like to do ujjayi breathing, which is breathing in and out of the nose and creating this ocean sound in the back of the throat. So doing that if you know that breath. Good. And then opening up the palms, we'll start with a nice sun salutation, A. Inhale to look up. Let's just go slow. We'll modify this. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lifting. And just reaching out through the spine and the crown as you lift your heart. And then exhale, have the hands on the ground as you bend your knees. Step both feet back to find plank position. So shoulders above the wrists. Okay, feet are about hip distance. And you'll start to lower your knees to the ground. Look forward. And then bend your elbows towards the rib cage. As you keep bending, your belly will come down to the ground. Point your toes, keep the legs strong. And then lift the chest, engage the core. Open through the heart, shoulders down the back body. Good. Exhale, press back into a child's pose. So sit back into the heels. Stretch out the arms. Breathing in and out. Good, and then find that downward facing dog. Lift the hips, press the toes in. Now, if you're working towards straightening the legs, just make sure that you're not super rounded through the upper back. If you feel like you are, or you see, it's a good idea to take a picture or film yourself doing it to see your alignment. If you are, you'll want to bend the knees. Okay, and then keep that spine nice and straight. One more breath in downward facing dog. And then gaze forward, stepping both feet. Okay, inhale, lifting the heart. Look up, exhale, folding forward. And then press through the feet, lift the heart again. Let's come all the way up as you come to standing. Reach the arms towards the sky. And exhale. Good. So now that we feel a little bit warmed up, let's turn to the side. Step your right foot out. So the feet are about legs distance apart. And you'll turn your toes out and the heels in as much as you can. So find a spot to stare at for the balance. Start to bend both knees. Slide the hands down to your legs. And then feel the pelvis soften into the stretch. Some of you may want to come down with the elbows down to the legs. But if this is good enough, just coming up for you, stay there. Okay, just breathe into it. Feel nice and stable and rooted through the feet. Good. And then turn all the way towards the front. Step back, find your downward facing dog. Just walking out the down dog, bending the left knee and the right knee. Good. And now you'll look forward and bring down both knees. Actually, this is an easier way to get into this. And then bring your right foot up towards the front. Now, sometimes when people do this, they come to this 90 degree, and that's fine if you're working through certain stuff. But I find that I have to separate just a little bit. So walking the knee back and drawing the hips forward so that the knee is nice and aligned. It's okay if it goes a little bit beyond the ankle, but you don't want to lift your heel. Okay, so nice and rooted through the front foot. Feeling the hip flexor on the left side. And breathing into it. If you want to challenge the pose a bit, just come all the way up and reach up through the arms. Now that might be too much for you. Just have your hands down so you can feel stable. Good. And then send the hips back, just straightening the front leg. So if you can't touch the ground and you're way up here, you might have to keep bending and going up and down, or grab some blocks and do it that way. Just setting the hips back and forth just to warm up the hips. And then we'll come on to the inside of that right foot with both hands and walk the right foot to the edge of the mat and then turn the right toes open. So you're in a little bit of a deeper lunge here. Now, I do suggest, and most people don't, if you're just starting out, you may not have props or a block, but you can even stack up a bunch of books. And I'm sure you have books at home. And that just helps lift yourself up a little bit so you're supported. Okay, just keep breathing into that inner hip, inner thigh. And then also the left hip flexor you'll feel stretching out. Good, one more breath. And exhale, send the hips back. Okay, we'll just swing that right leg around. I want you to stretch it out, just alternating legs, or even come into a downward facing dog, and you can kind of shake out the legs. Okay, so the knees come down again. Let's switch sides. So the left foot comes forward now. And you'll find that little lunge. Little split in the legs. Bringing the heart center forward. Finding one point of focus and then just breathe into it. Good, and now we'll send the hips back and forth so you're straightening out that front leg. Bending the knee. Good, and then bend the left knee. Bring the hands on the inside of that left foot. Open up the left foot, like walk to the left a little bit towards the edge of that mat and then open the toes up. Okay, so this just gets a little bit deeper on the inner left thigh. Breathe into it. Finding one point of focus, calming the mind, and using the breath as a tool to get you to that place of just ease and grace. Good. One more deep breath here. Nice. Sending the hips back. Release that side. Now just come down and sit on your ankles or heels. So that might be uncomfortable for your knees. You can sit on your bum if it is. And what I want you to do is just kind of stretch out. So rolling the wrists. Rolling the wrists, stretching out the fingers. Reaching up the arms, inhaling, and then exhaling. Okay, hands come down again. Find that downward facing dog. And we'll walk both feet towards the front. Good. Inhale, halfway lifting. And fold forward. Coming all the way up to standing. Reach the arms. And exhale. Good. So once again, turn to the right. Separate the feet. This time a little bit longer stance for Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana B. So your right toes will turn towards the back of the mat. Left toes just kind of stay, right? 90 degrees. And you'll start to bend your right knee. Now, the tendency for this posture is the knee to fall inwards. So we want to keep pressing it in the direction of where the big pinky toe is. Okay, and then we'll lift our arms up. Now your arms might get sore here, and if you have any shoulder injuries, you can always just have the hands at the waist. But the idea for this posture to really feel the hip opener is to get the knee so it's just directly above the ankle, so it's nice and lined up. Then you can look anywhere that I usually look at my fingertips. And breathing into it. Now, if that's a lot for you, just release it by straightening and bending the knee. Okay, just one more breath here. Good, turning the right toes. Shake out the legs a little bit. You can even tap the insides of the legs. Sometimes they get a little bit tight. And then we'll turn the left toes open. Start to bend the left knee. And then this back leg is just really nice and straight and strong. Rooting back through that back foot. Reaching the arms up. And breathing. One point of focus to calm the mind. Good, one more breath. And stretch it out. Let's turn, heel toe the feet. Good, and then come all the way to standing and do that marching again, just lifting the knees up. Hands are at the waist. Good, coming back to Tadasana. Release the arms. Take a moment to just connect to the breath here. Connect to the body grounding. Good, and then inhale, reaching the arms. Folding forward, exhale. And we'll start to bend the knees. Sitting right down onto the ground and turning, opening up the knees and bringing the soles of the feet together into Badakanasana. Okay, so I want you to press your heel bones. Feel the calcaneus pressing together and then opening up. So now the knees might be way up here. You can always put blocks or bolsters or pillows or anything if you feel there's too much pressure and you just want to support it and relax it. And also the hands, you can stay lifted here and it actually helps you reach up through the spine when you're holding your legs and pulling a little bit of the heart forward. Okay? So remember, the point is not to go the furthest or max out on the flexibility. It's actually to be present with your breath, with wherever you are presently, because our bodies will change every day. Okay, so it's just about breathing into the present moment wherever you're at, whether you're touching your toes or not, because that's not the objective in yoga. Even though it feels at the beginning that's the only goal that we have sometimes, but you'll quickly learn as you go through this practice that that is definitely not the objective of the yoga practice. Breathing in to find length and then gentle fold. Relax the head and neck. Good. Inhale as we come all the way up. Let's just stretch our legs out in front in a nice V stance. And then we'll bring our hands forward or even back. Now, if you have a cushion, you can really help lift the pelvis up if you sit on a cushion. Okay, otherwise you can bring your hands back and press your chest forward as the pelvis tilts and does this anterior pelvic tilt, opening up the space that's needed for this posture. So walking out the hands, lifting through the spine, and once again, just breathing wherever you are. And then settle into as the tissues start to soften with every inhale and exhale. take your time with this one. It sometimes, the body doesn't really respond until it's quite warmed up and you allow that space to happen, when you allow that surrendering to happen. Good, and just monitor your breathing. Notice the quality of your breath. And just be really observant to your experience that you're having right now, the sensations that are coming and going. Good, one more breath. And exhale. Good, bring the legs in. So far the dog's doing okay, no barks yet. I shouldn't speak so soon. Okay, so now this is what I like to do after this one, is letting the knees just go from side to side. It really releases any tension that came up in that posture. Okay, just a few more hip openers and then we're almost done. So we'll bring the left leg straight and the right foot comes all the way around, okay? So now this one for cow face pose, it can be done modified quite nicely. So all you're doing for the modified is just keeping that left leg straight and the right foot comes around. And you know what? Maybe you're just right here and that's okay. Support yourself in that position. You'll still feel a little bit. Now, if this is even too much for you like this, I would suggest you just go onto your back body. Okay, so because I'll show you the full pose. The full pose is bending both knees back and getting, right? So if that is a lot for you, I have a lot of students that go into thread the needle or recline pigeon like this. And this is just getting exactly the same muscles. So you're getting your glutes and your piriformis, as well as, you know, it's pretty much the same posture muscles that you're opening, but you're just on your back. So you're more surrendered, more relaxed, and more able to receive. So if you're doing full cow face pose, then go for it. But this is just the variation that I'm going to show, okay? And breathing. Relax the shoulders, the hips, the knees. Good, so just one more breath here. And then exhale, we'll straighten that right leg and then the left knee will come up and over. So once again, if you're on your back, just switch legs. Okay, coming into that reclined pigeon or modified cow face. And I like to lean a little bit into it if you're folding, if you're seated. And full pose, of course, would be the bottom leg just bends, kind of like this. If you are going into this pose, I just want you to be mindful that you're not lopsided. And right now, my inner thigh is not happy. So that's why the modifications are really good. Because if you're working through something, you may want to be really mindful of what the position is. So this one, I'm feeling like I'm getting a lot more benefits because there's not a pulling that's happening right now in my inner thigh. So just go with what the body can do right now. Good, we'll take one more breath. And exhale. And then scoot forward a little bit, come down to your back, bring your knees into your chest, widen the knees for a very gentle, happy baby pose. The hands are just on the insides of the legs, and you're just doing a gentle rocking. Okay, if you want to go a bit deeper, you're grabbing onto either the ankles or the edges of the feet, bringing your shoulders down, relaxing through the face as the knees come towards the earth. And just some nice gentle breathing. Good, one more breath here. And exhale. Good. Let's come right into Shavasana, so stretching out through the legs. The arms are comfortable distance away from the body. The legs are comfortable distance. You can even look down at your feet. Make sure your feet are relaxed. The toes are flapped out to the side. And then you're relaxing through the shoulder blades. Let's take a couple deep breaths in and out. In through the nose. Out of the mouth. Good. And when you exhale, let the body completely settle. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. Just feel the bones softening and settling. Feel the muscles relaxing. The fascia and the connective tissue and the tendons. And all the organs. Every time you breathe, the belly rises and falls, taking you a little bit deeper and deeper into Shavasana. Noticing the subtle sensations, relaxing through the mind. But be here for another minute, just completely letting go. Good. Start to slowly bring the awareness back to the breath. In and exhale out. Good. One more breath in. Exhale out. And then slowly bringing your toes and fingers back by wiggling them. Moving through the wrists and the ankles. Stretching out through the body. Good, and then bring the knees into your chest. Do a little rocking or circles. Feels nice on the lower back. We'll roll all the way over to our side body. Taking a deep breath here. And exhale out. And then slowly making your way back up to seated. Come to a cross-legged posture, whatever's comfortable for you. And then take a moment here just to close your eyes, sit nice and tall. Check into the body, noticing changes, shifts, anything that's happening right now, what you're noticing. Without a judging mind, just notice, observe. Good, we'll bring the hands into heart center. And from my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you so much for joining the practice and resetting your body. You deserve it. And for just going slow, taking your time with the practice. There's so many little details you can find when you slow it down a little bit and just let the body absorb everything and the muscles and tissues to respond to it. So thanks. I look forward to the next video. We'll be doing shoulders next week, so stay tuned. Thanks for sharing the video. Namaste.